Greenfields for this final day Energia All-Ireland League fixture. Cork Constitution face off against Young Munsters. Cork Constitution will most likely play against Energia College depending on the result in the capital, with Young Munsters going no higher than fourth. We'll have updates from all 23 2:30pm kickoffs this afternoon. Sunday as well are currently leading 19-12 against Bangor in Division 2C, and Queens kick off at 4pm as they bid to win the Division 1B title. Joining me this afternoon, no stranger to Greenfields, Ger Berkey, talk to us about the 18 rounds of games, what a season it's been, and what it's going to be like today.
We're unlucky enough to be the game that doesn't have too much riding on it, but I think we've got 19 or 20 games at 25 games. They have something to play for. Phenomenal, a fitting end to an incredibly good season. I think the standard has gone up across the board. It's been magnificent rugby play, to be honest, and it's an exciting finish. So many different outcomes possible, so many different permutations. It'd be impossible to get through them all, but yeah, a lot to play for around the country today.
As it stands in Division 1A, we've seen Clontarf will play against Young Munsters, as they most likely will in UCD.
Clontarf need a point.
Terranure College today play against Shannon down at the bottom of the table. Trinity, as we see, play against Garryowen. A win there should keep them safe. That's in Division 1A, which we will get to after this game. In Division 1B, City of Armagh, we saw a historic promotion to Division 1A. They play against Buccaneers in the Midlands today. Wesley chasing them, and at the bottom in 1B we've got Malone facing off against UCC in the Mardyke. That's going to be tense. And Banbridge play against Highfield. Highfield looking to finish in the top four, with Banbridge looking to be safe. So there's plenty of drama to come today.
Madness, it's not out of the realms of possibility that Highfield don't actually make top four. Very unlikely, but also chasing a home semi-final. You've got Belleville away to Mary's, or home to Mary's, excuse me, and they should be at odds on to take a home semi. UCC Malone is incredibly, whoever wins that is going to take themselves out of the automatic relegation spot. So many different permutations, as I say, just a mad finish to a great season.
In Division 2A, as we said, Queens face off against Dolphin at 4pm. Queens looking to get the title that will bring them into Division 1B. Barnhall and Nina will be in the playoffs, along with Blackrock, who have an outside chance in Ballymena to win Division 2A as well. In Division 2B, Greystones were crowned champions a couple of weeks back, and they will play their rugby in Division 2A next season. And Division 2C, Instonians will look to go 18 bonus point wins in a row. Sunday as well, as we said, we'll play junior rugby next year. Middleton and Omagh face off against Clonmel Bruff. So plenty of rugby and updates throughout the course of the afternoon. Please use the hashtag at Energia AIL and at the Club Scene podcast. And before we get to today's game, we spoke to Young Munsters' Gerard Prendergast and Corkon's Johnny Holland a little earlier on. Gerard Prendergast, round 18 of the Energia All-Ireland League. You're already in the top four. How much focus has been on this week without trying to keep a little in it ahead of the semi-finals next week?
Yeah, it's a hard challenge, Dara. It's been difficult, but having said all that, as the week progressed, our eyes just started firmly fixing on Cork, because first thing we want to look at is performance, and then obviously guys are trying to stick their hands up to be involved in the game the week after. So I suppose as the week progressed, really we did just focus on the game at hand, which is here. And look, you've got to respect the team of the quality of Con. They're obviously have got their own permutations to deal with, so we're just going to give them the respect they deserve. So yeah, we're looking forward to what will, I'm sure, be a very difficult battle.
In terms of the selection, there's obviously plenty of changes up front. We'll be going through the teams in a little bit, but a couple of guys with a chance of getting in next week, a couple of guys being rested. What's the kind of thought process behind that?
Just as you said, a bit of both really. I mean, as I said to the lads, there are a couple of places that are probably close to being bedded down, but there's not many. And given the competition we have in the squad, it breeds that competition, I suppose. And yeah, look, we're looking forward to guys sticking their hands up today. Hopefully they'll grab the challenge, and then it just gives us difficult decisions to make the following week.
In terms of the season overall, we were in this place this time last year. Unfortunately, there was no semi-final coming around the corner. Just where you see the overall performance of the league, particularly with Division 1A, with so much on the line at both ends of the table today.
I mean, it's relentless. I've heard you use that language before yourself, and given the quality of the sides, given the experience that you have in all these teams, I mean, coming, as you said, to so many big games today, there's so many different permutations. It's a fantastic league, it's a fantastic brand, and look, we're continuing to produce players of really high calibre, and look, long may it continue. But and look, days like today are great, aren't they? I mean, it makes it exciting. So it'll be very interesting to see by the end of the day who's where.
Johnny Holland, round 18 in the Energia All-Ireland League. You currently sit in third. There is a possibility, depending on how the game between Terenure and Shannon goes, that you could get a home semi-final. How difficult has it been to keep guys focused on the task at hand, knowing that you've got a semi-final next week, possibly at home, possibly in Dublin?
There's a lot of possibilities, isn't there? It's not hard to keep fellas focused. I mean, it's an 18 league game for a reason, but you have a semi-final in the bag. I think last year we didn't have it in the bag as early, so you do have to keep people focused, but they're top 4 clashes, aren't they? So regardless, I think whatever the result, I think we have to build a game that's going to be good enough to win a semi-final and possibly a final. So we have to work on ourselves, and an old cliche, but we do, and we have to try and make sure our game is going the right direction, because the semi-final is next week. It's not 4 weeks down the line, so we do have something that we need to look after ourselves as well. But you still want to win as many games as you can, because that's a feeling you want to keep.
A huge performance against Terenure in Temple Hill on the first weekend of April. How big was that in terms of the approach over the 2 weeks that you were off and heading into today?
Yeah, it was huge. Mentally, we're going to play them again, so having that win is something towards the semi-final. It's not the semi-final itself, but it's definitely something that we knew we had to put up a big performance. We had an obvious performance in round 2 as well, where we got destroyed up there. So as much as we were trying not to have it on our minds, that's going to be on your mind, so trying to level that to a degree. I don't think the aggregate score is anyway even, but something that we knew we had to target it. And look, if you're going to be playing a top 4 team, you don't want to give away too many freebies either, and it's at home. You always want to protect your own patch, as your Munsters will be today, regardless of what their ambitions are this week ahead of next week. So at home, you're always going to want to put your flag in the ground and make sure no one takes it away from you. So that's what we were doing.
And overall, looking at last season, obviously a semi-final defeat against Clontarf, do you feel the squad are in a better place and the last round of the season heading into a semi-final this time round?
Yeah, I do think so. I was thinking about that this week myself, and it doesn't mean I can predict what's going to happen next week, but I definitely feel like we're on a different curve, I think, so it feels better. It feels like we're in a different place. There's different personnel. It's a younger team that's coming, so I think it's a good place to be. But I mean, there's an uphill battle coming in the next couple of weeks, whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so it's there's a lot to come in terms of competition. But I think we're definitely, as a team, we're in a better position. Whether it's enough or not, we'll see next week.
Good afternoon and welcome to Greenfields for this Energia All-Ireland League final day fixture. Dara Frawley here with you this afternoon, joined by Ger Burke. As it stands, the weather was perfectly spring and fresh, but the rain has started to come down. Berkey, we had a nice easy intro and a coffee before we came up here this afternoon, but talk to me a little bit about today. Obviously we know both teams are in the semi-final, but what the mindset is going to be at both sides.
Yeah, it's a peculiar setup today. Your Munsters resting a couple of their big names, which is understandable. There was a couple of guys out getting a bit of fitness in before the game, which makes sense because they can improve their fate. They're going to Dublin next week, and that's what it counts. There are a couple of guys that need to put in a big shift to put themselves in a team sheet or a squad for next week. So I suppose there's motivation in that. Cork on the other side, on the other hand, they're going to be keeping a close eye on the fixture between Terenure and Shannon, and could find themselves with a home semi-final. And a home semi-final, Falls, as you know, is the golden goose. It's unlikely, but it isn't beyond the realms of possibility. So you have to imagine Con have the motivation here today. It was a lovely day when we arrived, but the wind has picked up. The rain has started. It is bitterly cold, a lot colder than we anticipated, or dressed for, should I add. But nonetheless, it should be a good game of rugby. I'd imagine at some point when scores come in, you'll see two teams just throw the ball around and express themselves, which will be nice to look at. Both sides are playing themselves in our seconds final in a couple of weeks as well. So,
indeed, they are. The state of play currently in Division 1A of the Energia All-Ireland League. As we said, Clontarf sit at the top, Terenure in second, Con in third with Young Munsters in fourth. The only order that can change there throughout the course of the day is Terenure potentially going top, but most likely Con winning here means that they will play a semi-final in Lakelands next week. Ballynahinch play against Lansdowne. Both teams there, as Joe Burke said, will throw around the ball as they can only finish 5th and 6th respectively. Garryowen will play their rugby in Division 1B of the Energia All-Ireland League next season, and Shannon face off against Terenure, knowing that a win there would throw the cat amongst the pigeons, as UCD entertain Clontarf and Castle Avenue, and Trinity face off against Garryowen in Division 1A. Berkey, in terms of the teams today, as we're actually seeing the table there, is there anything that's really surprised you throughout the course of the league? Young Munsters last season, for example, knew with 2 rounds to go that they weren't going to get top 4, but yet on the final day we're secured here.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, I was surprised I thought the top four would come down to the last game of the season, hence why we planned to be in Tom Clifford Park between Cookies and Con. I suppose Hinch had a disappointing finish to the season with a couple of poor results, and things started to kind of get away from them after they were beaten here in a massive game a couple of weeks back. Trinity's form has been well documented, is very disappointing. So when you take those two teams out of the fight for top four, and Lansdowne obviously having a season that we wouldn't associate with them normally, you would have expected, I suppose, those three teams with the last couple of games to be in contention at top four. So it's a peculiar end to the year. I suppose the permutations are a little bit more exciting towards the end of the table. I think in my reckoning, 2 points for UCD should be enough with the points difference, but again, 3 points guarantees them safety. I'd imagine it's going to be high scoring above there. Clontarf need 1. Get 4 tries early, take the foot off the gas, let UCD run away with it. Wouldn't maybe under as a possibility. Lansdowne Hinch, I think, will be a good game, probably a game people aren't talking about. Winner takes 5th, and considering how disappointing Lansdowne were at the start of the season, I think they'll be quite happy with that. Ballyhinch looking to finish the highest they've ever finished in the All-Ireland League and be finishing the top half of the table will mean a lot. So I think that will be a good game of rugby and probably a better game than people are anticipating.
One thing is for certain, we will need calculators across the country for the permutations this afternoon. The Young Munsters line out as follows for their final round game before a semi-final next week. Stephen Lyons is at 15, Conor O'Shaughnessy and Conor Phillip make up the wingers. Harry Fleming captains the side from outside centre, with Luke Fitzgerald moving to inside centre. Evan Cusick and Adam Maher make up the half-backs for the Greenfield side. Bailey Falloon, Conor Nesbitt and Ronan O'Sullivan the back row. Sean Rigney and Craig Hannon in the engine room, with Paul Allen, the ageless Paul Allen, Mark O'Mara and Michael Tracy making up the front row. The substitutions are from Dara Keogh, David Begley, James Horrigan, Liam Nealon, Jack Lyons and Shay McCarthy. Berkey, very quickly, we spoke about a lot of changes there coming in. A couple of guys looking to put their hand up next week for a semi-final. Other guys knowing they're in the team but need to really perform today because we know what Conor are going to bring.
Yeah, I suppose, and accompanied with that, Falls, is the fact that Munsters haven't played particularly well in the last couple of rounds, and they'll be well aware that the last day out against Garryowen was incredibly disappointing. There is an element that they need a performance. I suppose I can't believe I'm even saying this, but Evan Cusick in at 10 is probably playing for his spot next week. Hasn't been a regular at 10 for the last couple of rounds, which is madness for those that have been here for the last couple of years. So yeah, a lot of guys, let's say him at 9. I think there's probably a lot of spots on the 23 up for grabs here today.
Indeed. Cork Constitution line out as follows: George Coomer at 15, Billy Crowley and Michael Hand make up the back three on both wings. Harry O'Riordan and Bruce Matthews make up the centre. Aidan Moynihan, the talismanic figure, captains them from out half, with the ageless Jerry Hurley his half-back partner. David Hyland, the hybrid second row back row, fills in at 8. Ross O'Neill has been in fantastic form at open side, with Jack Kelleher in fine form also at blindside. Owen Quilter and Sean Duffy, both with huge seasons thus far, make up the second row, and Luke Masters, Billy Scannell and Brendan Quinlan make up the front row for Cork Constitution. Max Abbott, Alessandro Heaney, Carl O'Flaherty, James Murphy, Louis Cann and Daniel Hurley make up the replacements for the Cork Con side. Just before we approach kick-off, Berkey, the question no co-coms likes, a score prediction?
I hate to say it as a Munster person, but I think Con are going to win this by 10 plus. Just looking at the sides there, Con look very conditioned. Falls, there's a lot of young guys here, or young in the last couple of years. It's coming of age for Con, mixed in with the ever-present and talismanic Jerry Hurley at 9, who I won't even guess his age at this point.
Ed Moynihan gets us underway. Sean Rigney plucks it out of the air. Conditions, as you can see here this afternoon, not akin to April in Spain, but certainly April in Ireland, as Maher sends the ball down the breeze at the back of Young Munsters, as Con captain Aidan Moynihan has it, and they intend on playing. A little bit of a difficult wind, as we said, facing into them, but it's a good carry by George Coomer, well met. Young Munsters set the line on the outside. Moynihan elects to go out the back. Con have played some really enterprising rugby this season, but Paul Allen wasting no time, showing no signs of his age with a big hit early on. Moynihan again goes out the back door. Duffy moves the ball into the hands of Michael Hand, and Hand is on the move here, and Conor in the groove early in Greenfields. Moynihan, ball again to Duffy. Calls of great shape from the Con bench here as Luke Fitzgerald gets to grips with his opposite number. Hurley again to Moynihan, zips it out, and it's Hand on the move on the inside. Hand offloads to Moynihan, and Con get the start they just about want, and it's superb rugby from Cork Constitution early doors. Ger Burke, the weather conditions no problem for him, and scintillating rugby here in Greenfields.
Absolutely. Look, it's raining, but it's not going to deter them from moving the ball. I think it's very obvious they're not going to kick too much, and into the wind in particular. What I found fascinating about that, you have Jack Kelleher there, a prominent young back row playing superb rugby at 6. He's finding himself in that backdoor position for Con outside the back of Johnny Holland on several occasions. A big man that if he has to, he'll carry, but makes good decisions and a good distributor there. Normally we would find it back. He was key in about three possessions in that attacking sequence. Really nice rugby. Michael Hand is wearing 14. Flat pass to Michael Hand on the wing there, giving him an inch of space on the outside. He's quick, he's strong, and a gorgeous support line on the inside from Moynihan. Great rugby, and I think an early sign of what's to come from Con here.
Just 2 minutes on the clock there, as you heard Ger Burke say. Aidan Moynihan with a lovely little tracking line inside Con with front door and back door options, and you can really see their intent. Aidan Moynihan lines up the conversion, right footed, +3, conditions coming right into his face. Strikes it well, does Moynihan, and it's 1 from 1 for the Cork Con skipper. 7 points to nil here in Greenfields after 2.5 minutes.
What was really nice about that was a lot of Cork Con lads making live decisions based on the picture in front of them, and in fairness, Johnny Holland will be encouraging that. Very encouraging start for Con. Very disappointing for you Munsters. I suppose not having the opportunity to make big collisions because they're like that. Con are making live decisions, looking for soft shoulders or space based on hip shape. Really good attacking start.
Cusack restarts the game. High hanging kick over the head of Quilter and well taken by Highland. Highland with a good carry there, assisted by a couple of Cork on forwards, and Jerry Hurley has spent time with Munster overseas. Mountamarsan sends it high and hanging. A little bit of indecision from young Munster's leads to Cork on, and they looked up to Anthony O'Neill. Highland, big swinging pass. Coomer goes very, very well. It's in the hands of Coomer, and he's on the move. The pass was flat, says the referee. Coomer again, ball in two hands, struggling to get anybody on the inside. Jerry Hurley on this side, much like Moynihan and Berkey. Might be cold here, but Con raising the temperature early doors. Everything about that is absolutely top drawer. That's an outstanding exit from Jerry Hurley, hanging it in the air. Michael Hang gets a hand on it. Great pickup from the loose head prop in Quinney. And then again, you're seeing the other back rows there, Ross O'Neill and Dave Hoyland, finding themselves in positions in the middle of the park, so comfortable on the ball to make live decisions and to throw big passes and get the ball to space. A ridiculously high level of skill and great enterprising attack in rugby. Very encouraging from Con, and as a neutral you have to be enjoying what they're doing at the moment. The game has evolved in the last number of years, particularly in Munster, Cork on, and Munster games traditionally would have been low scoring, a lot of scrums, a lot of melees, dark arts perhaps in your time, as we set up the first scrum and Maher gets ready to field. Cork on have a real go at the scrum, and the ball is under pressure, and Hurley puts it in behind. It's well cleaned up there by the Cookies in their 22, a little bit under pressure here. Might look to take a phase. Cusack, right footed, drills it. Great connection from Cusack and Coomer. That is a phenomenal exit and relief there from Evan. Look, to be perfectly honest with you, a first scrum and the first maul of the game are always an indicator of mindset, and you Munsters just don't seem to be anywhere near at the pitch Connor at the moment. That's a very disappointing scrum. Paul Allen and Cole Mark would be very disappointed with that. There's no excuse for that here in the Greenfields. Billy Scannell has the ball in hand. Con not giving too much away. They go on a 1-3-1 setup. Well taken by Quilter again. O'Neill, Moynihan goes very, very well. Con just overrunning the line slightly. Duffy, this time in a rare error for Cork on in the first 5 minutes, and an otherwise faultless start, Jerry. Absolutely beautiful dart out of Billy Scannell. He's been a great signing from this year, coming back from playing a bit of pro rugby in France. Seems to be enjoying himself. That's a gorgeous throw jump towards the tail with Owen Quilter, very experienced second row. Again, it's Ross O'Neill, the 7, the back row, who's in that position in the middle of the park, making live decisions right on the tackle line. Gorgeous ball back inside to Ed Moynihan, and to be fair, there was a hole there. If Quilter could have held the ball, probably a hint of a forward pass from Jerry Hurley, but Connor playing really live rugby, and it's great to see. Munsters will look to have a more steady scrum than previously, but Con again looking to have a right go. And Munsters under real pressure as Bailey Falloon looks to pick it up. Does well to get a pass away. Cusack, very, very nice. Decides to switch to play. The pitch holding up as Conor Phillips looks to put pressure on Hand again. Hand does very, very well there. Steps on the inside. Con looking to play ball. Hurley again uses his wise head and decides to put it down, but it's very well taken there by Stephen Lyons again, and Lyons has an opportunity to go. Con looked to have retreated there, and the referee says it's okay. Maher again moves the ball out to Hannon into the second row this afternoon in place of Alan Kennedy. The injured Tom Goggin as well. Good to see him back doing some fitness before as he returns to fitness. Well taken there by Munsters again. Cusack moves it out the back again. Bailey Falloon is met very well by Moynihan on the other side. Good carry by Mark O'Mara. Back into the hooker position after a little bit of time out. Ronan O'Sullivan again. Con so far not being stressed defensively. Front door option there again for Michael Tracy. In at loose head, Rigney. Another good carry again. Young Munsters here. Not stressing them too much, but managed to get a penalty, Jerry. And what do you think the call's going to be here?
Oh, I'm not sure actually. I'd imagine the corner, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him put it over the bar. Evan Cusack has saved Young Munsters twice there. Two appalling scrums. Young Munsters are getting a decent hit, but then they're just sitting and waiting, and Connor attacking on their ball. They've got to get a go forward there and a call in when the ball's been put into the scrum. But Evan Cusack with two exceptional kicks that have saved Young Munsters twice from two very poor scrums. Lucky to not have given away penalties. What is also very evident there is in Munster attack, it's very much the same direction. And wherever they come from, it doesn't seem to be too live. So Connor only defending one side of the ruck at the moment, whereas Connor forcing New Munsters to defend left and right of every breakdown, making it much more difficult.
Cusack lands Young Munsters to within 5 metres. Rigney with Hannon in front and Falloon behind. Takes the ball in the front pocket as they set up the maul again. O'Mara looks to demand it. Con so far doing well to stop the shunt, but the Cookies will look to rearrange the height as they move towards the line again. Mara's got Phillips on his left hand side, but Cookies are moving forward here. Ball goes down, cries of collapse, and Mara looks to have lost that, but the referee says it was done illegally. Better signs from your Munsters there.
Absolutely, that's a good set. With great patience. There probably was an opportunity a little bit earlier for Maher and Conor Phillips to go for the corner, but it was good patience, and there'll be more of the same here.
Into the corner again from Cusack. A good set there on the first maul, Jerry, in terms of where they wanted to go. They wanted to get that plus around the front there.
It looked like they were trying to shift away to the front and pivot towards the 5. Didn't quite happen, but it was a decent setup from Con, but he didn't move the Munsters maul backwards, and then you're in the danger zone then.
Towards Hannon at the front again. Young Munsters look to get the shunt. Paul Allen anchors at the front, but Con do very, very well in the interim to stop that as they slide away towards the right foot. Ball is in the hands of O'Mara, but Con look to have put out that fire early doors. Maher tells his forwards to realign again. It's a good carry by Allen. First offload of the season. Bailey Falloon goes quite well. He's hit very, very hard by Con, but the referee says it's okay. O'Sullivan again with a good carry, just getting yards again for Young Munsters as they come around the corner. Rigney met by 2 of Con's defence. Slow ball again for Young Munsters as Maher looks to go out to Fitzgerald. Cusack again, little dink in behind. There's an opportunity here for Young Munsters. Right idea, but just execution let him down, and Young Munsters' first 2 visits come away with no points, but better second 5 minutes than the first 5.
Yeah, you can see Con's shape there. They're getting on the outside of the Munster maul, trying not to allow them get around the corner, but they actually got a good hit on it this time, and the initial shunt was Con coming forward and Munster going backwards. I suppose Munster's probably could have been a bit more patient, gone through and made Con work a little harder through the pack there, rather than going to the back so early.
Moynihan sends it long. Breeze seems to have dropped. He finds his opposite number, Cusack, who says they're going to play. Maher finds Lyons. Cork on, winning the race there to the halfway line. Ronan O'Sullivan goes quite well. Bounce off hand, but O'Sullivan again has been brilliant all season when called upon. The back row player so abrasive in contact. Mark O'Mara bounces out of the tackle of 2 Cork on tacklers. Rigney does quite well. The temperature rising here slightly in Greenfields. Harry Fleming captaining the side today takes a nice little unders line again. Con trying to rearrange his run on. O'Sullivan again makes yards again, but that little offload doesn't quite go to hand And Conor Nesbitt drops it. Jerry, on that front, as you said, Con's defensive line not being overly stressed, but better from your Munsters overall.
No, I think you can see the difference there. Conor trying to make it more decisions. The Cookies are struggling to get a body on shot or win collisions, whereas Cookies are being a bit more direct, and it's becoming all about the gain line there. A couple of big carries in fairness and a little bit more promising. A couple of big carries there from Ronan O'Sullivan and Mark O'Mara that's getting on the ball. You'd imagine though the Cookies are going to have to start moving the ball a little bit wider if they're going to cause Con any trouble.
Talk to us about the scrum set here and the mindset. The first two scrums, Con evidently on top here, putting Tracy Allen and Mark O'Mara under pressure.
This is interesting. This is Con's first scrum, so Cookies will be encouraged to go after it. But if you're from a Con point of view, you'd be thinking keep it in and squeeze for a penalty based on the first two. And that's exactly what they've done. Very disappointing scrum for Munster's. Loosehead coming up on the outside. Right decision from the referee.
In terms of being able to remedy that, Jerry, and thinking live on your feet there, is that a 1v1 battle or is it a system error?
To be honest, it's a mindset first and foremost, and it probably, if it needs to be, it's going to have to be a change of personnel if we have to.
Moynihan finds a fine touch for Con, who have settled into this trip to Greenfields very, very well. 7 points to 0 here after 12 minutes. As we said, we will have updates from all other round 18 fixtures in the Energia All-Ireland League this afternoon. Sunday as well, lead 24 points to 22 against Bangor in Musgrave Park. Scannell hits towards the tail. Now, lovely little peel here as Hurley goes very, very well and finds Bruce Matthews. In for Niall Keneally. Moynihan again looking to wrap around, but it's taken very, very well there. And Conor on the move there towards Crowley. And Harry O'Riordan gets an unbelievable score. And Cork Constitution, as Joe Burke has rightly said, when they are moving, they're making live decisions with heads up, and at the moment young Munsters can't deal with it.
First and foremost, I think go back to the line-out. The Cork line, it looks absolutely immaculate. Quilter, Jack Keller and Dave Hyland in the middle there just seem to be running the show. Gorgeous movement, great throw. Interestingly enough, you had Michael Hand and I think it was Harry Reardon after the first phase. Jerry Hurley elected to go to the centre. I would have probably looked to put Hand on a soft shoulder there. He's a big, strong, dynamic runner. But again, it's quick ball. Munster's under pressure. They haven't got players around the corner because it's a quick ruck off the initial setup. And again, it's just getting on soft shoulders. Sport line's really good. It's just great rugby from Con.
In an update from the Energia All-Ireland League Promotion Playoff Final in Ashbourne, County Meath, Clore Valley, the Ulster champions are 7-0 up against Richmond's fullback Tane Hare, with the score converted by David Maxwell. There's a huge prize on offer there, as whoever wins will secure senior status in Division 2C of the Energia All-Ireland League next season. But here it is 14 points to 0 in favour of Cork Constitution, as Aidan Moynihan kicks very, very well into the wind, and the Cork side full value for a 14-point lead.
Absolutely, they look dangerous anytime in possession. They're looking to replay at a really, really high tempo, move the ball to space, and Munster just aren't at that pitch at the moment. Somewhat understandably, but yet it is a little disappointing at home for the final game of the season.
Hurley goes very well, just about avoids our commentary position. He knows Ger Burke is in here, but as we said, the semi-finals do take place next week on April 22nd. As we said, we will bring you updates throughout the course of the afternoon, but so far young Munster struggling to get up to pace.
It's absolutely fantastic to see Jerry Hurley still playing at this level and key in everything Conor doing at the moment, in a game, in a bid to play in the semi-final next week. It's just wonderful.
O'Mara finds Rigney. Nice little bit of dummy movement there as Nesbitt hits Harry Fleming early doors, and Fleming makes a lovely little line break. Michael Hand does very, very well to bring him down as young Munsters make a little break there, but Michael Hand has had a hand with the ball in hand, and on the other side of the ball there he brought Fleming down very well.
Gorgeous line out again, great throw from Mark O'Mara, lovely piece of play, dummy maul, ball players in. Harry Fleming finds a gorgeous hole, but I think you're seeing the size and strength of Michael Hand. He's a big, strong player there, but more encouraging for Munsters, definitely. That was much better play. All started with a set piece so far. Line out wise has been rock solid for both sides.
Scannell on a 4-man line out for Con finds his man again with ease as Con set up the maul. Jerry Hurley still remaining back as he gets called in by the hand, the referee lowering, and Hurley right footed with another superb kick. The Con team suggesting the ball was touched. But alas, we will have a Young Munsters highlight. Just the basics there, Berkey, being done very, very well by Con. Obviously for viewers seeing, there is a little bit of a breeze at the back of Young Munsters, but making those exits look easy.
We're 16, 17 minutes into the game. Con are 14-0 up, and I don't think they've made a single mistake yet, Frolly. Great read from David
Ball
Hyland there, and a
taken
great steal.
very well by Hyland. His hand looks to get off the touchline, but Sean Rigney says no on that front.
I think evident there, Michael Hand happy to run straight at the forwards. Big lad taking nothing off him. It's good physical contest all around there. Well met by Sean Rigney and a good collision. Great read and movement, and defensively though, and speed on the floor from Dave Hyland. Frolly, you'll appreciate that.
Absolutely. As you can see from the linesman's flag in front of us, the weather is starting to pick up here, so Young Munsters electing to go towards the front of the line out on the first 3 occasions. The ball goes through the hands of Hannon on that as Mark O'Mara tries to get in to get a turnover, but Con in the ascendancy in all facets of the game at the moment, and we'll come back for no advantage.
That's a Jersey special, that move, or that throw flat on the floor. Caught everyone on the hop, to be fair. It wasn't stolen, it just went through the hands of Craig Hannon. It was unfortunate, but you're starting to see how it probably jinxed it. The Munster line all of a sudden seems to be under a lot of pressure. They need a big scrum here. I'm sure there was a conversation previous to this. Now they need a big scrum here.
An intriguing battle, as we've said, right across the board. Michael Tracy, Mark O'Mara and Paul Allen have been put under real pressure. The first 4 scrums have resulted in 2 penalties for Cork Constitution. Jerry Hurley again feeds the ball. Con a little bit better from the Munsters at that stage, but again the end result looks the same as Highland Dennis Leamy style moves that on, and that is sheer another dominance and something that's not used to be seen here in Greenfields from the opposition.
I'm almost speechless to what I'm seeing at the moment. It's utter annihilation. Luke Masters and putting on a masterclass at tight head, in fairness to him. Michael Tracy find himself on the outside where he's so ineffective. They're really tight and they're forming almost like an arrowhead shape. Brendan Quinlan had doing a good job on Paul Allen, but Masters doing the damage on this side. Michael Tracy almost coming irrelevant in the Munster front row. David Begley is on the bench, and if Munsters do want to stop what's occurring at the moment, I wouldn't be too slow to put him on.
Aid Moynihan finds touch again. A wry smile from the Con bench there as the subs go for a warm-up. Con like to go towards the front again. The peak of the jump and throw. Con absolutely on fire at the set piece here as they look to go through the middle of Cork Constitution. Young Munster struggling to get to grips with the maul here as it goes down. Billy Scannell again with a good carry. He's been brilliant all afternoon. Hurley moves it out towards Moynihan. Moynihan has a little look, has time to readjust. Left footed, puts the ball across, and it's going to land perfectly in the hands, but just about doesn't go in. Unbelievable piece of skin from Moynihan to jump in and jump out and take it on his bad foot there. And Berkey, Con
can't do anything wrong at the moment, Folly. Their set piece looks absolutely superb. I was looking at their warm up. Their maul has been very, very effective this year. I'm not too surprised to see it rumble forward there. Correct call from the referee. It was a penalty, and that's just a gorgeous free play from Aid Moynihan, and unlucky not to have gone in for a third.
Indeed.
It's going to be more of the same, you'd imagine here.
Ross O'Neill leaves the ball to Moynihan, who will go into the corner again here. Your Munsters will most likely have to defend that much better this time, Jerry, or that's going to be 5, possibly 7 points.
The initial hit is so important, getting your shape and where you want, and you know there's different names for where people are going this day and age, but the initial hit is everything.
Wynn picks up, Scannell goes towards the tail, taken underneath. It's a nice little peel there as it's taken by Con. Ably assisted there again as Hurley looks to go around the corner. Con in no mood to let up here as Evan Cusack tries to buy a little bit of time. Hurley again finds Moynihan. Moynihan looks again, finds Coomer.
That's a very peculiar call from Con. The fact that first of all that they'd go to the tail with that wind, and probably fortunate enough not to get away with the throw, and then for them to go to a dummy maul peel when their maul had done absolute carnage previous. Your Munsters. It's a goal line dropout. Sorry, yeah, knock on in
Bruce
goal.
Matthews, in goal with a little bit of a.
I think
variety is the spice of life, Jerry. Maybe from a feel from the back, but the maul there.
You don't fix what isn't broken. I think Brian Hickey and Billy Holland, who are both here in charge of the Con forwards, will be having a word about that at half time.
Cusack sends it, gets a good bounce. Moynihan has hand on his outside. He likes to go on the inside. It's taken very well by Coomer. Nesbitt has taken a hit there as Masters, who's done very well in the set piece, has a little gallop in the loose. O'Neill again looking for support as Hurley hits Moynihan. Again go at the back door. Luke Fitzgerald tries to make a read on it again, but Con having Ian Munster's defence at 6 and 7s as Billy Crowley has them about 6 metres outside the 22. Moynihan again. Con's ruck speed extremely impressive here as Duffy looks to go, gets the hands free. Hurley again, nice little short line there by Billy Crowley again. Crowley has an opportunity and Con slicing through at will here in Greenfields. 14 points to 0 at the moment. Highland again so abrasive in contact. Matthews again. Con's very, very much trying to keep the ball alive here as they head into the 22. Your Munsters have an opportunity to get a breath defensively. Duffy again offloads there. Crowley has been involved so many times. Ball in play time a little bit higher than normal for both sides here, but Con will look to unlock the Young Munsters defence as Jerry Hurley dinks it in behind. It's going to be a foot race here and Con look to have hands on it and Con just about knock it on, but again scintillating rugby from the Temple Hill side.
Absolutely. The key difference here, Folly, is every line that Con are running is live and there's decisions been made right on the tack line. I'm so impressed with the Con back row. They find themselves in positions where they're so comfortable to throw a pass, carry, make a decision on what pass touch throw if they are. But the real difference is, if you look there, left and right of the breakdown is live and Conor basing their decision on where there's less defenders. It's very simple and it's so hard to defend that. It means you've got 12 guys in the front line constantly anxious, constantly working and constantly under pressure. When your Munsters are attacking, it's a little bit more predictable in the same direction, so guys are getting a lot more time to recover defensively. I've been very impressed with Con's shape and attack so far. They'll have bigger tests of course next week, but this is really, really good preparation for a trip to Dublin.
Not a good place to be if you're front five forward like yourself and myself in the defensive line against this. But talk to us a little bit about the front line attackers there. You mentioned O'Neill, Kelleher and Hyland, their ability to actually be link men and to sit defenders down even when they don't have the ball.
There's underlines coming off 9 and 10, 9 in particular if you're going back to the short side, and it looks like they're dummy lines. They're not. If the Munsters drift out and don't defend them, you will see Moynihan and Hurley put these guys through holes or onto soft shoulders. You saw a lovely line from the winger coming short into that space there after the last previous play, the left winger coming in off right at that pillar A channel. So yeah, it's Munsters, if they don't defend there, will be exploited, but what that's doing, because they've been set down, is it's creating space on the outside. It's very good attacking rugby from Con.
The Division 1A latest on the final day of the Energia All-Ireland League season. Ballynahinch and Lansdowne remain scoreless in Ballymacarn Park. Lansdowne do have a man in the bin. Clontarf lead 12 points to 7 against UCD, and Shannon are 7 points to 5 up against Terranure College in Lakelands. Clontarf went 12 points to 0 up with a brace of tries from Dylan Donlan before Brian McMahon got over for UCD on the students' first visit to Tarf's 22. At Lakelands, Caelan Dooley scored out wide to reward Terranure's early dominance before Shannon out half Michael Cook went over after some super play and converted himself to make it 7 points to 5. How everyone in Cuna and Thomond Park would wish for full-time result in Lakelands at the moment.
That's only going to add to the motivation I can hear when they hear that result. That means they're going to go gung-ho here to try and make sure that semi-final is in Con next week, which will be massively important.
Con again asserting their dominance at scrum time and have the ball at the feet of Dave Hyland. It's looking very, very ominous here for your Munsters, and the try is given for Cork Constitution. 3 tries on the board here in Greenfields after 25 minutes. They are absolutely humming, Ger Burke.
There's a couple of young Munster supporters of an older generation that I know that I can guarantee you, Folly, we're quite glad they're on the other side of the pitch, because for young Munsters to have a put in onto their own scrum on a 5 to be walked over and concede a score is just not acceptable here, and that will not be well received in the bar later on, let me tell you. If Cookies want to have any shot at this game, they're going to have to make changes in the front row and sort out the scrum, because at the moment it's far, far too easy for the Con scrum.
Derek Yo and David Begley are the front row replacements on the bench for young Munsters, and perhaps looming larger, Max Abbott and Alessandro Heaney for Cork Constitution are still on the bench there. But as it stands, it is 19 points to 0 in Greenfields as Aidan Moynihan lines up the conversion, with Shannon being ahead in Lakelands. Cork can have their gander up and will have their eyes on a home semi-final, as Joe Burke said, in Temple Hill next week. But still a lot of rugby to play, as Moynihan strikes it well but just slices across the face in difficult conditions. But the score remains 19 points to nil here after 26 minutes in Greenfields. Con with very few errors, Jerry, and already in semi-final mode.
I think out of maybe two knock-ons, outside of two knock-ons, right on the Munster's line, I don't think Con have made a single error. Munster's just look flat and seem to be at 6s and 7s defensively.
Cusack sends it down. Hurley looks for his pals, and Scannell shows himself available as Connor just outside did a 22. Munster's cries from the touchline to get off the line and put this Con team under pressure as the ball squirts out the back. But it's a good carry there again by Dave Hyland. He's been to the fore of everything good that Con have done in this first half an hour. Moynihan again looking to play. Coomer has the ball in hand. Bailey Falloon just about gets to grip with them. Con again looking very, very comfortable, but Moynihan and Hurley extremely experienced. We won't even try and put a number on that relationship, as Hurley kicks it high and hanging as Stephen Lyons looks to go for it, and Michael Ann puts him under pressure. Connor Phillips, a little bit of a mess there, as Harry O'Riordan does quite well, but we will restart with a scrum, and Con won't mind.
Yeah, what's interesting there, you're hearing calls from Willie Staunton and Ger Sla in the Munster's coaching thing to keep coming on the outside, and I think that's important. What you saw there is Munster's defensive shape kept coming on the outside, forcing Con when they go to turn back in. Earlier when we were getting out the back, they were sitting and creating those overlaps, allowing them to get the ball to width. A definite change in defensive tactic needed, and quite effective there, forcing a Con to go look to exit. But again, their kick chase, the quality of that exit from Jerry Hurley is something else. Daniel
Hurley has entered the fray for Cork Constitution and will take his place on the wing in place of...
Yeah, well, hopefully we get to see Daniel Hurley in open field for Ollie. Let me tell you, he is some sight at a full gallop.
Maher much more solid from your Munsters, as Cusack hits Fitzgerald. He's got Fleming on a short little line, and Fleming again in unbelievable form for your Munsters, but Michael Hand closes the door for Fleming. But again, his second line break in the first half for your Munsters. Connor Phillips looks to go in, but he's swarmed there by Matthews of Cork on again, and Con after that line break look to reset again, but your Munsters going through the hands, and Cusack again, good sleight of hand to go on the right hand touchline as they move on. But again, the ball looks to be knocked on, and this is where Con would like to play quite dangerously. Hurley looks to move it, but no advantage, and probably the best passage of play we've seen from both sides. Harry Fleming again with a lovely little unders line, seems to be causing real problem, but very good from Fitzgerald to bring him flat in.
Anytime the Munsters take the ball to the tackle and make a live decision there, they've been effective. It's when they're becoming predictable to one-out runners, Con are comfortable. Gorgeous piece of play there from the scrum, much more solid scrum from Cookies, and just showing how the mindset is the biggest issue there. But you've Luke Fitz right at the line, backdoor option with the loop from Hughes, and a gorgeous line from Harry Fleming. Much better, and that's the key. If Cookies can play a little bit more like that, then they're going to have to give themselves a shot to get, or to at least stop this becoming an embarrassing scoreline.
In Division 1B of the Energia All-Ireland League, the updates as follows: Banbridge are 3 points to nil up against Highfield and Rifle Park. Buccaneers are 12 points to 10 down at home to champion City of Armagh. Naas and Old Wesley are drawing 14 points apiece. Mary's and Belvo 7 points apiece, and Malone winning 10 points to 3 in the Mardyke. Don't try and ask us what that means for the permutations at the moment, but we will endeavour to bring you updates as there is a break. We will go back to those. As that stands, Malone will have jumped at least from 10th to possibly 9th. Banbridge are 3 points up against Highfield. You can imagine that it's incredibly tense up there. As we said, City of Armagh, the champions, are 12 points to 10 up against Buccaneers, who need to win to secure a top 4 place. Naas and Old Wesley are 14 points apiece. Ger Burke rightly saying that was going to be high scoring, and St Mary's College and Old Belvedere, Belvo looking for a home semi-final, are drawing 7 points apiece.
You just had a referee have a word with Harry Fleming there about the scrum for the first time. Curious that it's taken that long, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a card soon enough if the Con scrum keeps up this dominance.
Scannell again gets the call from Brendan Quinlan. Con line-out has been more or less faultless as your Munsters look to put pressure on it again, and Hyland does very, very well to get that ball, but Bailey Falloon looks to get his hands on it.
Again, the calls coming from the Munsters.
Carry again by Keller.
to keep coming defensively there, Dara, and it's much more effective. That's a much better collision.
Hurley again using his forwards on that side, that front door option we've said. Carry very well there by Sean Duffy. The second row for Con. Hurley again, nice little flat pass there, looks to be hit high again. A couple of young Munster's players there not happy with.
It's becoming a feature of the game now. Connor coming off the touchline with a good play, and then they've got shape on the open side, so Munsters are folding and then snapping back to the blind with a hard line coming off 9 backdoor options. But a couple of better collisions there for Munster, unfortunate with a high shot from Paul Allen.
Moynihan again, it's become a feature of this afternoon in the first half in Greenfields. He has put his team down the line with penalties to get lineouts, and the Con maul we saw, Jerry, was going quite well. They were changing it up with Peels at the back, so keeping the Munsters guessing on their feet, but as you said, don't fix it if it's not broken. Absolutely.
Look, let's be honest, Con forward pack have the upper hand here. If Ross O'Neill at 7, you're going to assume a maul. That's much better pressure. Munsters, that's 2 in a row now they've upset. Con were looking for a maul there, they'd Ross O'Neill at 7, or we can only assume. It's a much slower ball, which they won't
has
like.
Hyland and elects to use him. Quilter and Kelleher clear out as Moynihan looks to go again on the loop. Cusack does very well to rush off the line as he hunts down Moynihan, but it's in the hands of Coomer again, and Con just looked to have an extra second on the ball. Michael Hand all alone on the right hand touchline on this side as Con. Jouet here in Greenfields. O'Neill again. Hurley using the 2 dummy runners. Duffy again with a good carry, chopped down by the Munster's defence. Hurley again differing the point of attack. Hyland looks to go out the back again, but Con playing what's on here, still trying to stress this young Munster's defence, but so far in this phase of play the Limerick side standing up to it. Paul Allen tries to rip the ball, and it's Conor Nesbitt turns it over to Maher, to Fitzgerald. He's got Fleming outside him again, elects to go. Cusack with a little dink in behind. Would have liked to keep that ball in play, but young Munster's showing a little bit of inventiveness with turnover ball.
I think the key here is when you bring line speed, slower rucks obviously is the key for it. If you can make Con ball slow and then bring much more line speed, in particular on the outside, the Con attack all of a sudden isn't as effective. But still, I'm just liking what I'm seeing here, the variety of options. It's very hard to tell where the ball is going at any time, which makes it very stressful for the defenders. Munsters is fortunate there to get a turnover, looking to put pressure again on the third line out in a row for Con.
Scannell with another perfect dart there. Hyland plays at 9. Moynihan out the back, Hand goes well, slips inside the tackle of Fleming, but young Munsters get to grips with him. Hurley again plays off Moynihan, again using the backdoor option. Lovely little hands there as Con look to go up the wing. The ball is played over the top. Lyons and Phillips between them try and arrange, and Lyons, no nonsense, sends the ball down the field, but again in the conditions Con looks so comfortable.
Absolutely. What you've seen there is your Munster shooting on the outside. It does leave extra players for the attack, and if you can get kind of what the people call that bridge pass over the top, you are in trouble. I saw it there on the open side when Con elected to go to blind earlier. If they had gotten the ball over Luke Fitz's head, Munsters would have been down numbers, a lot of space. So you saw there again, your Munsters coming hard up on the outside, but that bridge pass over to Daniel Hurley, very dangerous, and if they can find that, he's going to do a lot of damage, or their back three will do a lot of damage. Coomer, Handy and Dan Hurley, really exciting players, and just looking to get the ball in hand and play.
As Johnny Holland and Duncan Williams bring on the water and advise Scannell again. Good dart towards the tail of the line out, and Quilter goes well. Young Munster's taking Quilter out in the air again.
That's an absolutely spectacular throw in these conditions, for all it's wet and it's windy here, and that's a beautiful dart to 6. Is it touch in the air? Is that the call, Fall?
Nice slide on words. Touched in the air, yeah. Taken out in the air, I think, for anybody else in Greenfields.
Sorry, you're not allowed to touch the player in the air.
Quilter
Get up to the rules.
is taken down, and just while players are getting attention, the updates from Division 2A of the Energia All-Ireland League. As we said, Queen's kick off at 4 o'clock against Dolphin, looking to secure the title. Ballymena 10, Blackrock College 19. Nina Ormond are 14-0 up against UL Bows, and Barnhall lead 14 points to 7 against Old Crescent. The latest from the Energia All-Ireland League promotion playoff: Clore Valley 7, Richmond 3. Tyke Bennett reduces the deficit for the Limerick men with a well-struck penalty. That game in Ashbourne, and no doubt that's going to be a nervy one. As we said, the prize there, senior status in Division 2C of the Energia All-Ireland League.
What I find interesting here, there's a noticeable absence in the midfield for Con. So what you're seeing a lot is there's variations to get the likes of Michael Hand on the ball in the midfield hit up when you, which makes a lot of sense because he's a big dynamic carrier. When you remove the guy like Keneally, it's personnel rather than the number on your jersey that they're looking to exploit in those positions. Now, let's put money on it. Is this a maul, Frawley?
I would say to bet responsibly, and probably a maul coming up here will be interesting if Michael Ann gets his hands on the ball, but Dave Hyland again, Scannell's throw faultless, and Con shift off the right hand foot, making the left hand side of that young Munster's maul redundant as they look to come back around. As we said, a little bit of the dark arts earlier on, but so far the referee has said everything is legal. The ball's still at the back of the maul here as Jerry Hurley doesn't need to take the ball in. And Cork Constitution have scored, and it's Billy Scannell, and it's no more than Cork on deserved. Joe Burke, the bonus point secured here in Greenfields just before half time, 37 minutes on the clock. Textbook from Con, really being able to find chinks in that young Munster armour, and they've got another score. If
you're looking for evidence as to why the peel was the wrong call there maybe 10 minutes ago, there you go. That set from early doors was excellent. They got the initial step, which is key, and to be honest, once it started going forward, young Munsters were not going to be able to stop that legally. Probably better to concede 5 with a conversion to come and keep 15 players on the field rather than take it down, to concede a penalty try and you lose a player to the bin. To be perfectly honest, what's the most disappointing for all, I think there was an air of an inevitability about that once the line that was given, and that's disappointing here in Munsters.
Aidan Moynihan from a very similar position from the third Cork on try will look to make amends. The half-time jellies will reach the commentary, if you have heard that over the course, as Aidan Moynihan doesn't manage to add the extras in Division 1B of the Energia All-Ireland League. Banbridge lead 10 points to 0 against Highfield in Rifle Park. Matthew Laird extends the lead for the Banbridge men. City of Armagh 19 points to 10 up. Mason Wesley still level. Mary's 14 points to 13 up against Belvo, and Malone in the Mardyke lead 10 points to 3. So lots of movement in Division 1B of the Energia All-Ireland League. Here in Limerick, Con well in control, have the bonus point ahead of next week's semi-final. The last we heard, Shannon were 7 points to 5 up in Lakelands against Terranure College. Joe Burke said there was going to be drama, and we certainly have that in the first 40 minutes of the final day of this Energia All-Ireland League season. The ball squirts out for Jerry Hurley. Moynihan again, lovely skill set to move it out. O'Riordan goes very, very well there as young Munster players get back to their feet. Con with an array of talent moving the point of contact. Hyland again, this time uses the link man. Moynihan has the ball in hand, cries of release from the young Munsters faithful as the ball is dinked in behind, and Stephen Lyons again hasn't had much to do but has a little run, and Lyons breaks through. Physio's on the field and the ball is slapped down, and it's going to be a yellow card. And I think it's the right call based on what it was. It seems like it's Jack Kelleher coming off there.
Duffy, is it? Or he's walking, or I think it's Duffy in the second order. I think no one seems to know at the moment. It is. Is it Jack Duffy there for
Sean Duffy for a deliberate slap down there on a line break for.
Nice bit of play. Good to see Stephen Lyons in the ball. Great broken field runner, very dangerous player, and looking to keep the ball alive. Nice to see that.
As Evan Cusack, lovely cultured right boot, puts the Munsters in to the 22 in Division 1A. Clontarf for 26 points to 12 up against UCD in Castle Avenue. They've wrapped up the bonus point before half time, which confirms they will face young Munster in next Saturday's semi-final at Castle Avenue at 2:30pm, a game that we will bring you live. But back here, Sean Rigney has taken the line out as Con really aggressively tried to push that towards the touchline. Referee has the hand out. Luke Fitzgerald again. Fleming again, a wonderful little line, and Fleming 3 touches, 3 line breaks, and his third touch results in a try and a much needed score. Gets the Munsters fans something to cheer about as we head towards half time.
Absolutely. I think, look, before this game gets away from us, becomes a non-event. That's again, Luke Fitz and Harry Fleming have combined 3 times, as I said, Frawley. Harry finding a soft shoulder and pace on 3 occasions, that time resulting in a great score. I think the key here, if you're Munsters, is you got to slow the Conrock, you got to get up a bit more line speed, and in attack you got to get the ball moved around a bit more rather than to one-out runners allowing Con just to dominate collisions.
Harry Fleming recently married to his beautiful wife Bree. Spent a month in Colombia on the honeymoon, so he's nice and fresh after coming back and scoring 3. As Evan Cusack adds the extras, and that leaves the half-time score 24 points to 7 in favour of Cork Constitution. As we said, we will endeavour to bring you updates, but Berkey, sum up that first half for us.
All about Cork. Munster's not at the right pitch mentally, which is understandable. They're going to Clontarf next week. How can your mind be anywhere else but probably a half in Castle Avenue? Cork a lot to play for. You're seeing a great example of what they did on Thursday night being put into practice here. Set piece has been very disappointing for me, Munsters, in particular scrum. Luke Masters and I have to say Luke Masters is a player who's improved drastically over the last couple of years. He's scrummaging superbly, he's looking fit and strong. Quinlan getting involved in the ball around the park as well as scrummaging very well. The Cork line-out looks rock solid, bar I think maybe 1 stolen and 1 upset. Con just playing really, really good rugby, making a lot of live decisions. They can go either side of every breakdown, which is really hard for teams defensively. Munster seem to be binding up early at half time, showing that they probably need to rally here.
There's hands being pointed from Garrod Prendergast. No doubt that there's positions and jerseys up for grabs next week. But in terms of where Cork are at the moment, Jerry, we heard at the moment that the last we heard rather is that Shannon are 7 points to 5 up in Terranure. Does that get referenced in that huddle there?
Of course it does. They have to be aware of that. This is about one, you're prepared for Terranure next week. You know your opposition. That's fantastic. But the golden ticket at the end of this is that it could be in Con, and that will make a huge, huge, huge difference next week of where the game is played. But for more what you're looking at there, you have Brian Hickey in probably, I'd imagine, outlining that they should be mauling more. Johnny Holland in. It's a tactical conversation going on in the Cork Con huddle where they could actually improve those, even that last couple of 2 or 3% to make them even better, whereas it looks to be a little bit of a different conversation occurring with Munsters.
A word on how comfortable Con are from 1 to 23. We've seen a couple of replacements going in, but you alluded to it, as we said, the front door and back door options. The emphasis on skill set has shone very, very brightly today in the first half.
Look, the Con back row 6, 7 and 8 look as comfortable on the ball as any one of the backs, but every one of them, even Brendan Quinn in there with a knock on from a passenger, I heard you could see how annoyed he was with himself, because they pride themselves on that ability to be comfortable with the ball. It's been impressive so far. Now they'll meet a much stiffer test next week, but encouraging signs here and a great preparation for what's to come.
As we said, by virtue of Clontarf securing the bonus point, 26 points to 10 up at half time against UCD, they will play against Young Munsters in Castle Avenue. What a game that's going to be, and we will be broadcasting live from Castle Avenue, as well as at the moment it could potentially be Temple Hill, but Lakelands in that semi-final. Con will play against Terranure, whether it's home or away remains to be seen. The half-time score in Middleton and Clonmel in Division 2C, a huge bearing at both ends of the table, is 10 points apiece, and Instonians have completed the perfect season. If they continue in the same form, they're going 28 points to 10. They lead against Tullamore, which means they'll have 18 bonus point wins out of 18 in Division 2C. Barnhull, who are confirmed in 4th in Division 2A, are 21 points up to 7 against Old Crescent. As we are live here consistently, Ger Burke is angling to get the half-time oranges.
Well, is someone sending us over a couple of toasted sandwiches
from people. Old Belvedere are 20 points to 14 up against St Mary's, which at the moment confirms them as home semi-finalists. The permutations, as we said, in Division 1B, Banbridge are 10 points to 0 up against Highfield, which means that they could potentially jump them depending on how Malone, who are 10 points to 3 up against UCC in the Mardyke, go. Highfield at the moment not picking up anything from the game, and Buccaneers 9 points down against City of Armagh. So it could be a case at the moment, if that result stays, that Highfield still get into the top 4, but Wesley potentially jump Buccaneers. So it's all going on across the divisions.
From off the top of my head, I think UCC will find themselves in last at the moment, but I'm not sure what the points difference is there. I was just looking at the Cork-On huddle there before they split into units. You had Brian Hickey giving a final instruction and Jerry Hurley nodding his head, and you're just going, the level of experience and AIL knowledge going on there is phenomenal. You now look at the split where you've Johnny Holland talking to the backs, Niall Keneally throwing a couple of words in, and then you've got Billy Holland and Brian Hickey speaking about the set piece. They've really put together a fantastic coaching ticket this year, Con, with a wealth of experience.
Clontarf 31, UCD 12 at half time. Terranure College lead 15 points to 7 against Shannon at half time, so the tide has turned in 4-0. Old Wesley are 27 points to 21 up against Naas. in Division 1B. It's all going on, as we said here, 20 points to 7 in favour of...
I think the fact you've seen no changes from you Munster probably just goes to serve that their focus is on next week, and probably giving guys an opportunity to put in a better shift for the next 20 minutes or so to stake a claim at a jersey for next Saturday.
Wanderers lead 26 points to 14 against Malahide in Division 2B, where by our count anybody from 7th can qualify for 4th, but we will leave that to the statisticians back in studio in Limerick. The rain really coming down in Greenfields. Con down to 14 men. Sean Duffy in the bin for a slap down, but Quilter does very, very well to take the ball. There was a great hit there.
Much bigger collision and attack of the break for a few Munsters. Stern words had at half time come into effect as the rain gets much worse here. With the bonus point secured, you might see a bit more tactical and kicking of the ball, it says, second half.
James Horrigan into the back row for Young Munsters, making an instant impact defensively there, as Alessandro Heaney comes off the bench for Cork Constitution. There's an interesting 40 minutes going to come here in Greenfields, Jerry. As you said, some guys know that they may not be involved next week, other guys may be potentially looking after themselves, but Con in no mood to let up.
No, look, well, at the same time, it's a miserable day here in Limerick, not anticipated. They have the win behind them. If I was them, I would let the set piece do the work and I'd put the ball in the Munster half. I'd imagine if they get another score, you're going to see a couple of changes and key figures taken off and rested for what will be a titanic semi-final next week.
Billy Scannell gets the call again from Quinlan. Con go from tight to spread, and a rare miscue from Scannell leaves the ball in his opposite number's hands. Mark O'Mara does well to get some yards on that. Con look to have disrupted on the ground there, as Maher again finds Rigney. He goes inside to Tracy. Fitzgerald again has looked well. Cusack a second receiver. Horrigan into the game as Rigney carries well, but he's met very well there by Brendan Quinlan, affectionately known by Quinny by the Con faithful. Harry Fleming again, the try scorer late in the first half for the Greenfield side. The ball is in the hands of Conor Phillips, dinks it over the top, but Jerry Hurley, with all his experience, does very, very well. A low kick there, and Cusack uses his footwork to stay in field, met by Billy Scannell. Mara again moves the ball out to O'Mara, has got Nesbitt and Tracy in support. Again, quick ball for Young Munsters. Phillips this time his first receiver, and Horrigan again has had lots of involvements early in the second half, on and off the ball. Fitzgerald looks for Paul Allen, and Allen breaks through. Another line break from the big man.
Brilliant piece of play for Paul Allen. Young Munster's looking much more abrasive. The game plan is based on collisions, but they're winning them at the moment, and it's much, much better from Young Munsters.
Fleming through to Fitzgerald again, and Lyons, broken field runner again for the Cookies. A little bit slower this time. Paul Allen, lovely little out the back pass. Two Con players it takes to take him down. Looked like a bit of a high tackle there again, but Young Munsters upping the ante big time, and Mark O'Mara ships a big hit from Con as the ball squirts out. The ball is out again as Maher looks to go. Swung out again. Cusack has got Phillips one-on-one. Elects to go on the inside. Met very well there again by Keller of Cork. Had a big first half. Nesbitt looks to carry. Referee says the ball has gone backwards. Con looked to have turned the ball over, and they have. You can tell by the body language of Munsters did very, very well to get into that 22, but Con surviving in this occasion, and Jerry Hurley again lands Young Munsters.
Speed of ruck much, much quicker there for Munsters. That's the key difference. You're talking 2-3 second rucks. Young Munsters on the front foot, winning collisions and putting passes to the right players right on the tackle line, not allowing Con to get double hits in. Much, much better. What is disappointing though, if you didn't know, if you noticed, after first initial hit up for Ollie, it's a line of Young Munsters. It's a hit up in the middle, and Young Munsters didn't have a single player on the blind side. That means Con have to defend 25 metres of space, not 50 or 60 metres of space. I don't think at any point today have Con not had the option option to go left or right of any breakdown. When your Munsters are playing at high speed, and you saw there a couple of instances where they could attack left and right of breakdown, they're much, much better.
The difference, I suppose, in playing with a system and playing heads up, what has been noticeable from your Munster's point of view, they have been moving it through 2 and 3 sets of hands while closer to the gain line, forcing Con to make decisions defensively.
You're seeing Luke Fitz kind of being used right on the gain line with options coming hard off him and a back door, and it's been very, very effective. He's put Harry Fleming through 3 holes, one for a score, Paul Allen through a great hole there. Paul Allen coming at pace, finding a soft shoulder on the gain line. You ain't going to stop that, in fairness to him, but that's much more encouraging for Munsters and moving the ball to space and getting guys like Philly one-on-ones and running against forwards.
24 points to 7 here as we reach the 45-minute mark on this final day. Hashtag Energia All-Ireland League season. Con do very, very well. Highland gets his hands in front of Rigney, and defensively as well as offensively their set piece looks to be very good. Moynihan looks to go, but this time there's a bit of a slippy ball, and this time there's a little bit of bravado as your Munsters will have a scrum underneath the black spot, about 8.5 metres out. 24 points to 7 here. An opportunity for Cookies to get back into the game, Jerry.
Absolutely. It's all well and good in having the mindset you want to play, but that's a poor decision from Con there. It was never on to move the ball. You're putting yourself under serious pressure on the back foot there, and inevitably there was a drop came. It's a big scrum here. It's all well and good having the pressure and turnover if the scrum isn't effective. So big scrum from Paul, Mark and Tracy here.
Alessandro Heaney in for Masters. At tight head for Con. Your Munsters look to have gotten a little bit more steady as the first half went on. Conversations between Fitzgerald and Fleming, who have been very, very good as a duo when they have had their hands on the ball. But for the first time today, the scrum has gone down and it's not set.
Yeah, it's gone down because there's just a slip of foot. That's a good call from the referee. There's no fault there. That's a feet gone under, but there was a much better hit from your Munsters. Looked to be much more proactive there, and just again footing gone. Right decision, referee, reset.
Maher with the ball in hand. Enniscorthy, massive scoreline in Greystones in Dr. Hickey Park. 22 points to 12 up in Division 2B as Maher looks to hit Fitzgerald. He's got Fleming on the outside. Fleming goes. Fitzgerald again has got Phillips on his outside. Phillips does very, very well, and Phillips is going to get Young Munster's second score of the afternoon. Much better play from Young Munster's Phillips, prolific in those wide channels, and gets Young Munster's second try of the day.
Much better. The scrum wasn't perfect, but it was much more solid. We were able to get the ball get the ball back, should I say, and have an attacking platform off it. Luke Fitz is at the core of everything Young Munsters are doing well today. He's the guy, a first receiver, takes the tackle line on the loop and gets a really difficult pass away to Conor Phillips. And again, one-on-one on the front foot in those space, it's an inevitable score from him. Mark Amara and Ursula having a conversation about scrum right in front of us here.
Any good at lip reading, Jerry?
I couldn't repeat it.
In Division 2B of the Energia All-Ireland League, at the bottom of the table, Enniscorthy are 22 points to 12 up against champions Greystones in Dr. Hickey Park. In the context of the season there, Dungannon are 21 points to 18 up against Galwegians and Enniscorthy in a shootout in Division 2B of the Energia All-Ireland League, as Cusack strikes very well but just tails off to the right hand side, and that does leave the score 24 points to 12. But the half-time bollocking, for want of a better word, seems to have worked for you Munsters in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can see there's a much better intent from you Munsters there. It was very obvious they were in a tight circle at half-time, and there was a lot of body language being expressed from the coaches. Much bigger collisions, much more intent, playing at a much higher tempo. Set piece seems to be much more solid. Interesting mindset here for Con now, because they have the bonus point in the bag, and but there's a long way to go here.
Cork Constitution fans saying territory all day. Hard to disagree from where they stand. Good carry.
Powerful player. Ronan O'Sullivan's had a big season for Munsters, arriving up from Highfield.
Move from 6 to 8 as Bailey Falloon has gone off at half time with the introduction of James Horrigan. Evan Maher has the ball. He's going to go right footed. He's got Dave Hyland to contend with, but Maher kicks it high and Hurley misjudges it, and it's slapped back in, and O'Neill hits Maher hard. And there's no love lost between either side here.
Whatever way the wind is holding up there, you saw Adam Maher with very similar box kick to what we were seeing from Jerry Hurley in the first half. Bit of confusion here, the locals getting involved in the decision making process between the touches and the referee. Some colourful language being expressed.
There was a knock on clearly missed there. What easy from where we're standing. As Billy Scannell has the ball in hand. Well stolen by Rigney, and Maher plays it out to Cusack. Zips the ball out to O'Sullivan again. Carl O'Flaherty, veteran at this stage. His stage is in Dublin, onto the field now for Cork Constitution. O'Neill again with another huge hit on that side of the field. Cusack says, let's kick it, but as we said, the wind hanging it up. And Coomer sends this one, and where's this going to go? It's not going to hold up.
You could see the intent of what Boomer was doing, the way he tried to strike the ball in that banana kind of kick. He was looking for the 50-22, didn't come off, went square down the middle of the park and looking back for a scrum. Huge momentum shift second half. It's all your Munsters, again, probably inevitable. Con is deemed to have 5 points in the bag. A very calm talk at half time. Your Munsters, quite the opposite, and a much better start from them. Even from the line out still, you see the energy on the floor and the movement is, your Munsters is much improved. Ronan O'Sullivan, another big carry in the middle there. Probably would like to see him move that ball to Luke Fitz, if he could have adjusted that in the midfield setup. He is he does tend to tuck and carry. He's a boy that enjoys contact.
The fans getting a little bit agitated. The underage fans seem to have set up a band there on the hill on the other side as Maher hits Cusack. Fitzgerald flat line. This time Fleming met very well there by Matthews. O'Neill again as Nesbitt carries in. Con looking to double tackle on both players. Cusack tells the artillery to follow O'Mara as Maher again finds O'Sullivan, tucks the ball under to go and carry. Con trying to make a menace and nuisance of themselves at the ruck as Cusack finds Fitzgerald again. Good link man. Horrigan done very well and brings the Greenfield side into the 22 as the ball moves out the back, but it's well cleared up again by Nesbitt. Looks to get the hands free, and Conor Phillips is going to go in for his second try of the afternoon, and just like that,
we have a game on our hands for us all of a sudden. It's so, I can't just stress enough how much better your Munsters are now in second half. The intent of the breakdown, like you had a situation there where you have Ross O'Neill over the ball, a fantastic clean out and a scoop of a pass from Adam Maher to just keep the ball at high tempo and pace, much more dynamic. What you saw there from Luke Fitz, which was fantastic. While the previous one, Luke Fitz comes hard, Harry Fleming on the short line, it was well defended. This time you had Harry Fleming on the short line, Luke Fitz, and he moves to put the ball across him to James Horrigan, making live decisions, very intelligent. I say Luke Fitz had a superb game. He's been key to everything in Munsters have done well, and again, you put the ball to Conor Phillips moving at full tilt on the front foot, he will score.
Phillips again, as we said, prolific, his second try of the afternoon, back after a little while out as Cusack strikes right-footed, and that's straight between the posts.
24-19 now.
24 points to 19.
Game on.
As James Murphy makes his way onto the field, an All-Ireland League winner with Cork Constitution, so much experience, a real mixture, Berkey, of youth and experience in that Cork Con team, and it seems to have really mixed well.
He got engaged last week as well, Froley.
Are you going to wish him congratulations?
I was waiting for you to.
Congratulations to James Murphy as Mark O'Mara. He's done very well to hold on to that ball. Got Quilter to deal with there. Cork on second row as Ronan O'Sullivan,
another great carry,
runs over. Alessandro Heaney gets to grips with him. Noticeable height and audibility from the Munsters communications, but Dan Hurley in open field.
That's a poor exit from your Munsters. That's a mistake, and therefore Con back on the front foot now.
Horrigan looks to get his hands on the ball there, and the referee says that Horrigan and his introduction since half time, Ger Burke, has been inspired. He's been very good in everything he's done.
James Harrigan's a great player. In fairness to him, he did serve his time at 20s. He's a cookie, his dad's a cookie. Great to see him playing well at this level. He's a good player, and he's brought great energy.
Cusack miscues that kick. Cries a knock on, but George Coomer a little bit more nervous on the sideline here for the Cork faithful as Maher finds lines again. He's got Conor Phillips in search of a hat-trick outside him, and a little dink over the top. Where's it going to bounce? Phillips has got an opportunity and he's got it there in his hands. Paul Allen runs the support line for him, and Allen is on the move, looks for contact there, as all tight heads will. Cookies moving into the 22 here, looking to keep wit in their shade as Harrigan and Fleming screen to get people in. Nesbitt unfortunately sees the ball roll off his shoulder, and Cork can't have it, but just like that, Berkey, after 35 minutes,
scintillating rugby. What I loved there, all it was a glance between Stephen Lyons and Conor Phillips. They knew exactly what they were doing. Attack the tackle line, put a little dink over, bounce into Phillips' hands. What a support line from Paul Allen. He did look for contact, but it was a good front foot, and then got the ball off the ground. I think it was Ronan O'Sullivan or Conor Nesbitt that got on it after that, and then unfortunate, but absolutely huge intent from you Munsters, and kind of have to be nervous.
Derek Yo enters the fray for Mark O'Mara. Ronan O'Sullivan comes off.
Probably a wise decision in the context of next week, Dara, to get those two lads off the field.
Absolutely.
They've been excellent today.
Absolutely. Paul Allen's support line able to tell the future with his mystic 8 ball just hanging upfield, knowing that Conor Phillips was going to make that break as they scrum down again. The young Munster scrum much better.
That's an interesting decision. Like the first time young Munster's probably had the upper hand. Tracy seems to be managing Alessandro Heaney much better than he did Luke Masters, but getting done for driving at an angle. Not sure if I would agree with that decision, but
alas, we play on as Moynihan lands Cork on just inside the young Munster's half. Scannell again. The rain seems to have eased somewhat, but young Munster's firmly back in the game this afternoon here, round 18 of the Energia All-Ireland League. Clontarf will play young Munsters as James Murphy carries, but he's met very well by Nesbitt. Jerry Hurley again has Moynihan on his outside, looks to go for a 50-22 there. Where's that ball going to bounce? And it's an unbelievable kick from Hurley there on his inside after that phase, and it will be a 50-22.
Very
for
pragmatic
Cork
play
Constitution.
from Con. They win the ball at the front of the line out. It's a big carry and set up from James Murphy.
The referee has said that was pulled back in. Jerry, sorry to interrupt you, that it is a young Munster's line out, but
interesting. But nonetheless, whether it's Cork line or young Munster line, that's really good play from Con, and this is where they would want to play most of the rugby in the second half. There is an air of tension and nervousness from Con though at the moment, I'd have to say.
Had it all their own way for 35 minutes in the first half. As Highland disrupts, the young Munsters carry very, very well there through the hands of O'Shaughnessy. Horrigan again carries, but Highland have been one of Con's best players at number 8 for the Temple Hill side this afternoon. Maher tries through his forwards to work an angle as Rigney carries, and not rolling away from that. Jerry, it's a day for cliches, and it's an easy out for young Munsters.
Absolutely. The new rules, the strictness of the referees and not rolling away, probably very intelligent play from Tracy there, Trapp and Quilter in there. But yeah, Con will be very disappointed with that. It's an easy out when they had young Munsters under pressure in their own 22.
Again, the wind picking up here, as you'll see from the touch judge's flag, as Cusack lands young Munsters just outside the 22. Derek Yo with his first line out of the afternoon. Unbelievable steal again by Highland. One-handed plucks it out of the sky.
Lineouts at this level are very complex, but if I had a very simple message, keep it away from Dave Highland. He's just absolutely phenomenal defensive lineout operator. Always has been.
Playing at number 8 today, but has plied his trade right across the back row and in the second row.
Again, you're seeing the blindside winger being the use in the middle there for on the hit up, with this time Dan Hurley coming off the shoulder of Ed Moynihan.
Moynihan uses Coomer to carry up again, but you can see Con trying to get into shape, but it matters not for the time being, as young Munsters manage to get hands in there again, and Con adjudged not to have released
I wish I could lip read and understand and know what was said at halftime, because this is a very different Munster side that we're looking at, and it's becoming very encouraging 7 days out from a semi-final trip to Castle Avenue.
Cusack, right-footed, sends Young Munsters just up to the halfway line. As we said, Cork Constitution will play against Terranure College, whether that will be Temple Hill. At the moment it is in Lakelands and looks like it will end up there, which means Shannon, if the score stays the same in 1A, means they will play in the playoff next week against the 4th place team in Division 1B. We will bring you those results as we get them. But Young Munsters looking to go, and Fitzgerald uses Connor Phillips, and Liam Nealon carries quite well, and Maher looks to send the ball in behind. He's done quite well. Coomer has got a difficult situation to get out of here and elects to touch down the ball, and that will be a goal line dropout.
Sorry, Frods. Adam Maher's been excellent today. He's dealt with a lot of scrappy ball and turned something into goal at times. That's a good kick. It's unlucky with the bounce, but again, a goal line dropout is far from a poor result for the Munsters here. Momentum still with Cookies.
60 minutes on the clock here in Greenfields. 24 points to 19 in favour of Cork Constitution. Con had the bonus point secured at half time, but a second half resurgence from Young Munsters has the game in the balance as Connor Phillips makes another scintillating break. He's on a hat-trick. Here is Phillips. He goes outside. He's got Liam Nealon, and Nealon, a lovely little show and go, scores Young Munsters' 4th try. Connor Phillips, absolutely outstanding all afternoon, and Young Munsters will have the opportunity to draw level. We had a conversation before the game, Jerry, about how much Con could potentially win by, and that was the talks, but luckily that didn't come off.
That was absolutely outstanding play there from Munsters. Great. It comes from just great decision from Adam Maher to put the ball into space. Goal line dropout. Brilliant place to run back from Connor Phillips. And then Liam Nealon. I was all complimentary about the Cork Con background. The first half's been all Cork Con it's been all Young Munster background. The second half, James Horrigan, Conor Nesbitt, Ronaldo Sullivan. That was huge before he went off. And Liam Nealon with a gorgeous piece of play. Ball in 2 hands, running square, throws a dummy and gets a great score. Great footballer, and great to see Liam get a good score like that on this kind of a stage.
As Evan Cusack lines up the conversion, Max Abbott will join the fray, and we will see the reintroduction of Billy Crowley. Cusack
kind of simply stopped playing for Lee, and it's come back to haunt them. Talk about a game of two halves.
Clichés, enjoyable clichés from Cherburg as Cusack strikes very, very well with his right foot, and that is a superb kick into the elements, which means the score here remains 24 points apiece. Great value for a tenner here in round 18.
Talk about a game of inches. I'd say Michael Hand, if he hadn't clipped his nails this morning, would have blocked that conversion, and because he misses it by millimetres, it drops over the black spot of the bar for Munster to take lead 26-24. Absolutely fantastic game of rugby here.
Billy Scannell, who's been excellent all afternoon, is replaced, as we said, by Max Abbott, and Bruce Matthews comes off the pitch as Billy Crowley re-enters the fray. Dan Hurley stays on the wing. Maher, right-footed, slips, and the ball is going to hang up in the air, and Hurley has an opportunity to run in the open, but he hits his captain Moynihan, who goes to Coomer at 15. Con moving the point of attack, but Young Munster's chase line standing up. They're caught here on the blind side if they're seen, and Heaney with a little show and go. Paul Allen caught it as his own game there. Hurley again hits O'Flaherty. O'Flaherty again, very good skill set, but Luke Fitzgerald jumps out of the line and tackles Crowley. Back on the pitch, looks like he's set up at inside centre in open play. We will see when we hit a set piece. Crowley again goes out the back of Kelleher to Moynihan, and Hyland again looks to find Brendan Quinlan, and Con have kicked into life here. Cusack does very well to pick that up off his shoelaces and right foot, tries to use the angle. The wind blows it back infield, and it's just about David Begley trying to bring the 22 a little bit closer to him to a range of 50-22. But in terms of a game that really didn't have much riding on it other than Con to get a semi-final, it's really sparked into life, Jerry.
When Con scored their third try to hit 19 points, they were kind of worried that this would become a non-event. All of a sudden the crowd are involved. Cookies are ahead 26-24, and it's becoming a good Con have kicked on again now. They're starting to play. There was some really good attacking rugby, and you've seen some nice variations of different type of shape they're running off set or off breakdown in the midfield there. The variation of a runner coming off 9, 10 with a runner inside and outside and a backdoor option. It's really nice variation. Dave Hoyle on the inside option for Con there, but a good turnover and just an absolutely superb exit. The bounce of the ball is going the way of the black and amber at the moment. Next score is pivotal.
Ball in the hands of Max Abbott, who has replaced Billy Scannell, entering the final 15 or so minutes across the country in round 18 of the Energia All-Ireland League. Please use the hashtag Energia AIL on Twitter and tag at the Club Scene Pod and Energia on Instagram and Twitter. Con doing very well, did the basics extremely well in the first half on their exit, and Jerry Hurley, right footed, sends the ball high and hanging, taken very well by O'Shaughnessy, but Dan Hurley does quite well as Con look to counter again.
Munsters do very well to keep the ball there. An absolutely superb exit and a barrage at the breakdown coming afterwards.
The try scorer Neelan carries, and there's a little bit of spice in the contact here as we enter the final 15 minutes.
It feels like Cork Munster should feel in Greenfields Frawley, and it didn't for about probably 45 minutes or so, but now we've got a real game on our hands.
Maher goes up top, Moynihan does very well, and like a 3-iron sends the ball down the field. Just about hold up again, and Lyons has an opportunity to go. The Con chase line is quite good as they swarm around after the first missed tackle. Need to stay disciplined on this side as the cries come in from the Con bench, and young Munsters. Evan Cusack goes in to direct the orders, as all good 10s do, and Maher plays Hannon on the right hand side, 10 metres in from the touchline. Maher again trying to organise his pod of players. A lot of tired bodies out there. And Evan Cusack, cries of get it out Harry, whether they're talking to Fleming or Reardon. But Evan Cusack lands the ball to Moynihan, and Coomer has an opportunity here, has a little look over. O'Shaughnessy goes, doesn't quite get the bounce, and Lyons does drop the ball, and it's gone into touch and 5 metres out. Con will have an opportunity here to put the pressure on and take the lead again.
That's a great result for Con in terms of the kick, but to be honest with you, Coomer should have put the ball in Dan Hurley's hands there. There was nobody but Paul Allen defending last 20 metres of pitch, and Dan Hurley, in my money there, was odds on for a score if he had gotten the ball. But nonetheless, they find themselves in a very profitable position, and if they win the ball cleanly, you can only kind of see one outcome here.
Hurley had obviously seen Paul Adams' line break in the first half and didn't fancy going up 1-on-1 against him, as Bruce Matthews re-enters the fray. George Coomer at 15 had an excellent game in advance of next week's semi-final, comes off for the final 10 minutes or so as Con looked to put the pressure on here. The ball is in the hands of Max Abbott. The hand is out from the referee, and he's got a yellow card in his hands, and he's awarded a penalty try to Cork Constitution, which brings the score to 31 points.
The worst possible
to 24.
Outcome. We spoke about this in the first half. Con got the nudge, and Cookies let them score and let keep 15 players on the field and force a conversion effort. But to at this level, to do something cynical is going to result in a penalty try and the loss of a player. Momentum back with Con now as... What's the score overall? 31
points to 24. Glad to
26,
see.
No?
26, excuse me. 31 points to 26. As Evan Cusack starts it up. All going on in Greenfields here as Mike Tracy is in the bench, and Conor Phillips goes in early. Taken out in the air. Cries of red, but I think sense will be seen here as Conor Phillips.
It was a genuine effort from Conor Phillips. There was no malice in that whatsoever. Unfortunately, he did touch or grab at the back of his hand, and Quilter takes a big bang. But probably sensible from the referee. Penalty only, and an unfortunate rugby incident.
31
Just
points.
in front of us here, we're seeing Brian Hickey, the consigliere, talking with Billy Holland and Johnny Holland. Not a bad man to have for some advice on the sideline in a game with so close as this.
Indeed. While we are in the stoppage, Jerry, in terms of the mindset of both coaching staff here, 13 minutes to go Young Munsters will be happy with their second half, first half aside, but in terms of changes, is there anything that they'll try and implement ahead of next week, or just they just want the game over?
I think thankfully the game is taking on its life of its own, that now both sides want to win it. It's regardless of what's happening. I know Young Munsters are going to Turf, doesn't matter. They found themselves ahead and they want to win the game. Connor more than likely going to Terranure, what's happening up in Lakelands at the moment, but nonetheless they want to win it. It's it's become its own entity, which is fantastic, and it's absorbing indeed. 31 points to 26 as Abbott, lovely flight on the dart, but Rigney reads it very, very well, and it's in the hands of Keogh. Another replacement, but James Murphy, very, very well, soccer skills, turns it over. But we will go back for your Munster's scrum there. The line out has been a real intriguing battle. Absolutely. It's funny that your Munsters early in the game just didn't put any pressure on the Con line out. Second half they have started to. That's a welcome side for all Cookies fans here. Probably an unnecessary one in the context of next week. We'd rather probably let rested David Begley, key figure for Munsters. Can't stress enough how important he is. And Alexander Heaney's about to experience a wealth of experience against him here at this scrum.
Begley replacing Conor Nesbitt by virtue of Mike Tracy's sin bin, so the Munsters scrum down to 7 as Maher.
That makes more sense for Al's introduction. Sorry, well, it was over the yellow card. My apologies.
Maher with the feed, and Con looked to go, but the referee, much like the second half, excuse me.
Yeah, that's consistent. You have no issue with that from the referee. That's consistent. Loose head coming out on the outside of the tight head. He penalised Munsters for that probably 10 minutes ago. Same decision here. Can't ask for anything more than consistency.
Cusack, right-footed. Interestingly, Young Munster's raising the tempo for the first 15-20 minutes of the second half, getting 3 scores. Conor Phillips with 2, Liam Nealon with 1 after Harry Fleming's try. They just seem to have gone back into a lull again. Con have managed the game quite well, as you said. Brian Hickey, the Hollands and Hurley and Moynihan on the field doing very, very well, showing their experience.
There's a lot of players been taken off both sides, to be fair, and there's a lot of guys putting in shifts out there that they probably weren't expecting. In fairness to Paul Allen, what an incredible servant 2 months he's been, putting in a huge shift. He's still on the field with 10 or so to go for us.
Yeah,
it's impressive for a man of his age.
They were asking a certain Ger Burke if he had brought his boots to Greenfields this afternoon as Maher hits Cusack. Fleming goes in on the inside, has beaten the first tackler on most occasions. He's carried the ball this afternoon, showing fine form ahead of the knockout of James Murphy. Hits Allen, but he gets another offload again in, and Horrigan looking to play, and Fitzgerald finds Nealon on the left hand side of the touchline. Paul Allen slow to get back to his feet to get into shape, but we won't begrudge him with that. Sean Rigney doing very, very well.
Lovely
to
piece
stop
of variation after that pot off 9, just getting off the hit. Again, Luke Fitz has been superb.
Phillips does quite well. Con just about getting to grips with him. The double try scorer on the hunt for a hat-trick. Maher again goes to Horrigan. He's been excellent since he's come on in the second half, as James Horrigan. Rigney showing up to go, and Paul Allen again taking the ball static.
That ball on the inside from that potted tree has worked well twice now for Munsters, just making sure it's not becoming a big collision.
O'Shaughnessy carries well, but Moynihan, as we said, no love lost, and both sides giving plenty of opinions here. Cusack finds Nealon again.
He's been excellent off the bench. Liam Nealon can probably lucky not to get away with it offside there behind the referee's back.
Cusack again,
their tails up,
looking to go. O'Shaughnessy with the carry, well met by Hurley, but not rolling away there. Maher again carries. Horrigan yet again shows up for a carry. Munsters again will need to generate a quick ball as kind of a full line, and Rigney somehow managed to pluck that ball out of 2 Con players as they came off the defensive line. Fleming stands in as first receiver, and Cusack with a little dink in behind. Hand goes for an orthodox block down, and Conor Phillips has it in his hand and just about to score his hat-trick, and the touch judge puts up his flag.
Good play both sides. Munster's trying to vary how their attack, going to power game when necessary, but a great defensive set from Con. I was even looking there, their backfield was in great shape, and Jerry Hurley on the chip line, there was very little space. There might have been an opportunity for a chip once or twice, but good play both sides.
In the Energia All-Ireland League Division 1A, Ballinhench lead 17 points to 7 against Lansdowne in Ballymacarn Park, which means they will finish in 5th. Their highest finished in the Energia All-Ireland League Division 1A, Clontarf, 38 points to 17 up against UCD in Castle Avenue. As we said, Clontarf will play against Young Munsters in the first semi-final next Saturday, April 22nd. Dublin University were 40 points to 7 up against Garryowen at half-time. We await to hear the updated score with 7 minutes to go, and Terenure College are 29 points to 12 up against Shannon. So with 7 minutes to go, as it stands, Shannon will be in the relegation playoff against the 4th place team, which we will confirm at full time across the leagues. Clontarf, as we said, do play against Young Munsters, and Terenure College will play against Cork Constitution. Games we will be broadcasting live from the capital next Saturday, but still plenty of drama here.
Ross
with the
O'Neill
remaining
comes back
6.5
onto the field
minutes
there for Owen Quilter, probably moving Jack Keller into the second row on the versatility at their back 5.
The most important position on the pitch, Jerry, in second row, as you've openly admitted to yourself, is Jack Keller does take the line out and can march up the field.
Good decision from Khan to go here, try and take the life out of the game. Trying to get a penalty, didn't come now on the front foot, but they're tiring out that Munster pack.
Keller again with a good carry. Jerry Hurley, as we've said about Paul Allen, going the distance.
All players off the bench have had an impact for us on both sides, both in black and amber and in white. James Murphy there with another big carry. Great play.
Moynihan with a lovely little ball to O'Flaherty. Moves very, very well for a big man in hand who's been quiet by his own standards in the second half. Ekes another couple of yards. James Murphy looks to have crossed there, and he has. And Con again, a rare error in the second half, but their attack shape and playing with heads up, Jerry, is something to be admired, and it's going to be a hell of a clash in Lakelands in that semi-final next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it immensely. Looking forward to 2 good games next week. But yeah, with the shape they play, it's not unsurprising that they'll get caught for a crossing every now and again.
Ball is touched in the air in flight, but Lyons does very well to cover the ground, has covered some amount of ground here in Greenfields. Maher looks to go as cries from the Con bench not to leave you. Munsters get out easy. A little bit scrappy here as Luke Fitzgerald looks to carry, gets around the would-be tackle of Jack Keller of Cork on, but Dave Hoyland gets to grips with the inside centre for Young Munsters. Game being played at a frantic pace.
We're inside there for Jack Keller holding his shoulder after that collision. That's not what the Con lads would like to see. 6-7 days out from a semi-final.
Moynihan catches and carries very, very well, getting through tackles, and James Murphy looks to pass out to O'Flaherty. He's got O'Riordan on his outside, and O'Riordan looks to get outside, and he does very, very well. He's got hand on his inside, but Conor Phillips looks to get in, does just enough to disrupt that. As Con...
It's a great contest there.
Contest big time. The ball is at the base as Jerry Hurley carries, hits O'Flaherty, and O'Flaherty gets the ball down for Cork Constitution. Brings the score to 36 points to 26. It's about 4.5 minutes to go, but a couple of bodies down. Hopefully everybody's alright, but a Con again upping the ante and really showing their attacking prowess.
It sounds overly simplistic, but Con, every time they've had a midfield ruck, they've moved the ball where there's more space and less defenders. Very obvious to move the ball to the open side there. Great piece of play from Harry O'Riordan, and just a great contest between Conor Phillips and Mike Land, who've had a great battle today. And then a nice wide flat pass to Carl O'Flaherty, who, if you don't get him square on a soft shoulder, from that distance he's not going to be stopped. Probably game over, you'd imagine now, but it took on a bit of life there for 25 minutes or so for us.
Indeed it did. Hopefully the viewers are enjoying it as Jerry Hurley plays 77 minutes.
I would love to know how many caps Jerry Hurley has in the All-Ireland League. And you know what? He was as effective today as he was 10 years ago playing the All-Ireland League. He was instrumental to how Con played in attack today. Outstanding shift from the veteran.
Absolutely. Louis Can, his replacement, as Ed Moynihan lines up the conversion. Right-footed, strikes it very well, but no score. And as we said, the score remains 36 points to 26. There will be celebrations in Clore Valley this evening as they are 31 points to 10 up against Richmond's Clore Valley. gaining senior status in Division 2C, adding to their All-Ireland League Junior Cup, so well done to them, and no doubt the clubhouse will be rocking tonight, possibly tomorrow night.
Absolutely phenomenal achievement for Clare Valley, and to be honest I think they'll do very well in Division 2C next year. A fantastic club and a very, very good side.
Cork Constitution having them all doing the basics well as Louis can, as we said, has changed for Jerry Hurley in Division 1B. Banbridge are 15 points to 5 up against Highfield in Rifle Park. Buccaneers are 31-24 down at home to the champions City of Armagh. Naas are 28 points to 23 up against Old Wesley, which means Wesley have just scored rather against Naas, but we'll take our focus back to Greenfields here as Can hits Moynihan on the outside. Moynihan, high hanging kick. Stephen Lyons has got a lot of ground to cover up there. It's a ball for Aidan Moynihan, but Stephen Lyons judges it very well, and it will just about hold up. And in a game of millimetres there, the referee says the ball has gone dead, so we will come back.
You have to admire the confidence of Stephen Lyons in that situation. I don't know if I'd have been as confident as he was.
For people of a certain vintage, there was a Clement Poitrenaud moment with Rob Howley there a couple of years back there. But as we said, we will restart with the scrum. Old Belvedere lead 27 points to 21 against St Mary's College, and Old Wesley are 33 points to 28 up over Naas. So as it stands, Old Wesley will jump Buccaneers into fourth place. We will bring you confirmation.
We have a score between Armagh and Buccaneers
of that. It's 31 points to 24 in favour of City of Armagh against Buccaneers in Dewberry Park. City of Armagh, as we said, were confirmed champions, but Chris Parker's side wanted to finish on a high.
You got to admire that from City of Armagh. Disappointing for Buccaneers, who
we're in added time in Greenfields here as Evan Maher hits Evan Cusack. Cusack, lovely little pass to Fleming, outside again to Fitzgerald. Has been lovely little interplay for both sides, and Phillips again carries very, very well. He's been excellent all afternoon. Has Phillips on the wing for Young Munsters. Liam Nealon, one of the many replacements who has helped Young Munsters fight back largely in the second half. Phillips, Cusack rather, hits Fitzgerald. Maher to Hannon. The ball is in the hands of O'Shaughnessy, and O'Shaughnessy is on the move there, and he goes inside to Hannon, but he's hit very, very hard.
That's a phenomenal cover and tackle from Ross O'Neill. As you say, late in the game, Moyne's got to be focused on next week. You can see how tired he is, and that's a superb defensive effort. But it's good play from Munster's live play. Good to see Conor Shocks get his hands on the ball. Nice rugby on both sides.
No sign of anybody looking after themselves for semi-finals next week as Billy Scannell re-enters the fray to throw into the line-out. Max Abbott stays on the field, and it is Brendan Quinlan who is not leaving the field. He's just running towards the touchline, making my life very hard.
Tracy, Paul Allen, Quinlan, absolutely phenomenal shifts from the front row forwards on both sides of the pitch today. Front rows aren't meant to play 80 minutes in modern rugby, or so we're told, but they've been excellent. Again, that's a worrying side. Looking at Luke Fitz in the midfield there, looks to be limping off with an ankle injury. Luke has been, in my opinion, probably Munster's best player today. That's very disappointing and worrying signs for next week. I thought himself, Harry Fleming, worked very well with Conor Phillips on the wing today.
We wish Luke Fitzgerald all the best in advance of next week's semi-final. Outstanding today. He's replaced by Shane McCarthy in the dying moments of the game here. Dave Ireland again, but the ball is crooked, and we are at the discretion of the match officials as to how much time will be added on here. As we said, at full time, do stay with us as we will have a roundup of all games across the 5 Energia All-Ireland leagues. Plenty of drama and reliable WhatsApps going around the country as we speak. Somewhere
in a room, Ross O'Donoghue is sweating profusely, trying to come up with all the who lies where and what division.
The consummate professional as Maher feeds the ball to the base. Munsters with a box set up on the inside to go outside the back of Fleming. Cusack goes to O'Shaughnessy, and he's made very well by Reardon. Big tackle by Reardon there. Shane McCarthy carries very, very well.
Standing tackle and collision.
O'Neill at open side has lost his scrum helmet, but he's been brilliant all afternoon, as Ger Burke has rightly pointed out. And there's another penalty here as cries of your Munsters to go, and Maher goes in.
Maher again has been really good, and your Munsters revival, really, he was at the centre of that in the second half.
Nealon plays at 9. Hannon sweeps it out the back. Cusack to McCarthy. That shooter
McCarthy
again has been a prominent feature of Con again. And O'Riordan goes in, and a good clear out there by Paul Allen, who has gone the distance. And Rigney has been tireless in his efforts all afternoon. Has done very well, has the lock for young Munsters. Maher again has got Hannon, who's latched in his carry. Bodies on the line for both sides, and Horrigan again as they try and get over Rigney. Maher, Cusack dinks it in over the top, and Phillips is looking for a hat-trick here, and he's knocked the ball on, and that brings full time in Greenfields in round 18 of the Energia All-Ireland League. Cork Constitution 36, Young Munsters 26. Berkey, before we get to the semi-finals and whatnot, in terms of the second half, Young Munsters will be happy for 25 or 30 minutes, but Con full value for the win.
Con better side over the course of the game. Young Munsters not rolling over and dying and being humiliated at home. Both sides travel to Dublin next week, and what are the odds on the two of them meeting in an All-Ireland final? I'd say you'd get a good price in the bookies if that was to be the case. Look, as I said, at times it looked like it might have been a dour affair, but no, to be fair, it turned out to be a decent game of rugby. Both sides looking to play some nice, and so if to be fair, some really good scores on both sides of the ball. Couple of bangs. Luke Fitz went off, hobbled off for your Munsters, and I think that's Craig Hannon holding his shoulder down for your Munsters at the moment. Jack Keller was holding his shoulder for Cork a while ago, which would have been a worry, and they lost. I'm not sure what happened that Luke Masters came off at half time. Again, I thought Luke Masters was superb, in particular at set piece. So it'll be gather yourselves and get ready for a massive week for both sides. Indeed
it will, as we wait for round the whistle results to come in Division 1A. The semi-finals on Saturday, April 22nd, that's next Saturday at 2:30pm. We'll see Clontarf face Young Munsters in Castle Avenue, a game that will be broadcast live with the Club Scene podcast and co-produced by Irish Rugby, as will Terranure College and Cork Constitution, both 2:30pm kickoffs. More details will come on those during the week. In terms of the relegation playoff, as we said, Garryowen will play their rugby in Division 1B of the Energia All-Ireland League next season. They've been replaced by City of Armagh, who have won the league in Division 1B, and a historic promotion for them. Shannon will play against the 4th place team in Division 1B after their loss against Terranure College. A lot of very interesting games to come there next week, Berkey.
Absolutely. Look, this is the business end of the season as you get down to it. You've got the semi-finals in 1A, obviously, and then you've got promotional semi-finals and relegation playoffs. So there's still a hell of a lot of rugby to be played over the next couple of weeks. We've got 3-4 weeks left in the season, so fascinating games ahead.
As we said, we will bring results as we get them this afternoon. Berkey, the last time Young Munsters were involved in an Energia All-Ireland League semi-final, a couple of years back, but they'll relish the opportunity next week.
It was... I'm trying to think if I have the right game, but if I'm correct, we were away to Clontarf, played on a Sunday on the 4G pitch. Unfortunately, it was played the night or the day after the British and Irish Cup final, which meant we were down a couple of bodies. But we were beaten by Clontarf on that particular occasion, and probably deservedly so, if you've been honest. But look, I think the most important thing to take away today for both sides will be they saw glimpses of what they're capable of being, but they're both going to need to put in 80-minute performances next week. 50-60 minutes will not do. I thought Con looked the more promising of the two sides. Their attack in particular found space. At times there will be a lot less space on the field next week. Turner's defensive effort, and with a certain Mr. Paul Barr knowing them inside out, I'm sure we'll be doing a lot of work and a lot of video work of them this week. However, there will be space at times, there will be opportunity. It'll be a matter of whether they can be ruthless and take them as they come. Terranure and Tarf have to be favourites, but
he's nailed his colours to the
mast.
mast
Said they're
early.
favourites. I'm not saying I'll give a prediction during the week as to what I think will occur. Lovely scenes there. Seeing Johnny Holland with the minis from Cork, that's fantastic to see.
Absolutely, and Ed Moynihan there as well. Terranure College were 29 points to 17 winners over Shannon in Lakelands. Caelan Dooley, a penalty try. Peter Sylvester, Colin de Butler, the try scorers, Caelan Dooley with 2 penalties and a conversion. Shannon's try scorers, Michael Cook, Jordan Prendeville and Jack O'Donnell. Full time in the round robin playoff in junior rugby, Clore Valley, as we said, 31 points to 17 winners over Richmond, which means Clore Valley will play senior rugby in Division 2C of the Energia All-Ireland League next season. Sundays well have been relegated to junior rugby, and Richmond's will have an opportunity to play against the 9th place team in Division 2C. Trinity were 66 points to 14 winners over Garryowen in College Park. As we said, Garryowen will play their rugby in Division 1B. Trinity with a much welcomed win after a very, very difficult second half of the season.
Better late than never, I suppose. We were waiting for Trinity to open up and play. Unfortunately for them, it came the last day of the season. But look, comprehensive, keeps them well and truly away from that even speaking about that relegation position. So yeah, look, I suppose it'll be regather themselves, regroup and go again next year. They're a much better side than where they finished this year.
Estonians were 68 points to 29 winners over Tullamore in Spallinstown, which means 18 bonus point wins in a row for Estonia. And St. Berkey, just a word on Estonians there. They tried for the bones of 9 seasons to get promoted through COVID, 7 seasons, losing semi-finals and finals. They've been absolutely phenomenal this season, and a word for their president Owen Lambert and his swims this year. They've been a breath of fresh air.
Breath of fresh air. I think this is just the beginning. I did call at the start of the season, I predicted that they would go straight up at top. I thought they'd be dominant. I didn't predict 18 bonus point wins because that is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that's ever been done before. I stand to be corrected. But they're doing a lot of things correct on and off the field. They're really promoting their social rugby. They're winning cups with their thirds, their fourths, their fifths. They're trying to reignite the connection between RBI, the secondary school, who won the senior and junior double this year in Ulster, and they're really trying to work on that relationship and reignite it. And they're bringing a lot of people who had probably drifted away from club and amateur rugby back into Estonians, and they have made wonderful connections up and down the country. They've created traditions of cold water swimming that aren't for the faint-hearted. Me and Falls both, we experience it, but yeah, Estonians are in rich health.
Indeed, they are. As you said, Ballinhinch 17 points to 7 winners over Lansdowne, which means they will finish in 5th. Old Crescent were 29 points to 21 winners over Barnhall in Division 2A. I understand Cathal O'Reilly has Monday and Tuesday booked off and work for his retirement party. But on that note, from myself, Darragh Frawley, from Ger Burke, from Johnny on the camera, Kieran Nolan, Raf Rocca and Ross O'Donoghue back at base. Thanks a million for tuning in. We will be back next week in both Lakelands for Terranure College against Cork in semi-final and Clontarf against Young Munsters. Congratulations to City of Armagh in Division 1B, to we don't know yet in Division 2A, but we have Queens who will kick off at 4 o'clock. As it stands, Blackrock go up, but Queens heavy favourites in that. Congratulations to Greystones in Division 2B and to Estonians in 2C and to Clore Valley who have been promoted. It has been the final day. If you are off next week, do put the feet up and make sure to tune in to both semi-finals. But for me, Darragh Frawley and Ger Burke, have a very good evening.